Hello, this is Spooky Spookster here, and sorry for disappearing for like a year. I'm really not good at sticking to like an upload schedule or anything like that because animation takes a while, and I am very bad at keeping motivated for projects, and I drop them quickly and pick them up quickly and yada yada yada. I'm just very not good at it. But here I am today. And I'm going to be talking about my Clangen file, even though I'm probably like super late to this trend, but I don't care because I have been following Clangen since the game first released, and it's like one of my favorite things. Like, I've got every update. I'm in the Discord server, I look at all the challenges and mods people make, and I just really love Clangen. So here I am going to be talking about my clan that I made specifically for this video. And sorry for any bad mic quality or anything. I'm literally recording this video on CapCut inside my closet, which is cramped and doesn't actually fit me, but I don't want anyone to hear me recording this video about silly cat games, so I am in there because it has the best sound. But sorry if any of my P's or T's or whatever pop, because I don't have a pop filter. I'm literally recording this on my phone. This clan is called SaplingClan, and it's named that after the fire that once destroyed the territory. The clan is called SaplingClan, named after that due to the fact that they're in a very dense forest, and it is part of their lore that the original land that they now live on was once destroyed by a great fire, and after years, the ground was then replanted and grown by their ancestors, and it's said that they grew this forest themselves with seeds they found and learned how to live and survive. So they really cherish the trees and things like that, and they cherish the trees so much that they tend to live in them. For example, the nursery is up in the trees in a dugout hollow in their camp to keep the kits safe from predators that may be able to get into their camp and keep them safe so they don't get eaten. So queens have to keep a real close eye on their kits so they don't wander out and fall. But it's not so high up the kit will die, but they're taught how to climb very early because climbing is something they really value in this clan, as they mostly catch things like birds and squirrels and occasionally stuff like mice, but they mostly climb trees in order to get their prey and food sources. When a new cat takes over SaplingClan as leader, they must plant a tree and look after it during their rule as leader in order to show their own growth and how they can take care of things and how they promise to take care of the clan itself. And their version of Star Clan, where they receive their 9 lives, is actually called the Warm Soil, as they cherish the earth and its warmth much more than the sky, which they don't often see due to the thick layer of leaves that cover the sky. That's most of the main lore. I don't want to info dump on all of it, but I really enjoy lore building and making traditions in clan. But now let's get on to the cats and how they live their lives in their very first year. Also, by first year I mean first year under this new leader, because I already like to establish a clan beforehand, and I start from when a new leader takes over, basically. So, speaking of, let's get on to our new leader. The current leader of SaplingClan is Skystar, a 78-moon-old grumpy leader who is a great climber and is said to have natural intuition. He has yet to lose a life, which is likely due to his intuition. He usually trusts his gut, and most of the time he's right about it, so all the cats will trust him if he decides to make a decision. He's also seen talking to birds rather frequently, so some cats think that he may be talking to the birds and receive omens from them, as birds are something that are also quite important to the SaplingClan, as they live in the trees and they are very close to them, and sometimes some cats believe they are reincarnations of their ancestors. He did receive an omen in Moon 2, and he didn't tell anyone what that omen was except from the medicine cat. But it turns out it was an omen for the death of the cat, which he sadly wasn't able to avoid and only realised it was when it was too late. He's also been receiving some really weird dreams that he's not quite sure about, but he's rather anxious about it and doesn't really know what to do, so he's just been telling the medicine cat. Later on, it actually turns out Skystar has a soft spot for two cats in the clan, his deputy and one of the warriors. He's very much bi panic about it, and I love him. He's a silly, grumpy man who actually has, like, a really big heart, and that's, like, one of my favourite character tropes, so I very much love Skystar. Next up on the list is Finch Spring, the deputy. Finch Spring is an 86 moon old competitive cat who's fast as the wind. He loves to race and he loves a good competition, which he picked up from his mentor. He's really, really good at his job as deputy and he takes it very seriously, but he also knows how to have fun with it and make sure everyone's having fun with their job. As previously mentioned, Finch Spring is one of the cats that Skystar has a crush on, and I imagine this all started during their apprenticeship years, as Finch Spring and Skystar's mentors were very close friends and the two likely trained together a lot, with Skystar sparking a crush on the older apprentice, and it kind of just went from there. Finch Spring doesn't necessarily feel the same way, but he's very close to Skystar as his deputy, and he does still care about him a lot. Other than that though, Finch Spring hasn't really done much. He's kind of just organised patrols and assigned people to jobs, and he's generally a really, really good deputy. The only other thing he's done really is get in an argument with his mentor, Tumblewasp, who I'll get to later. But other than that, he's been just really chill and just kind of a dude that hangs around, honestly. After Finch Spring is the medic, Mist Dream. I'm also going to try to remember to call the medicine cats medics, because obviously medicine cat is a bit, cultural appropriated, so I'm going to try and stay away from that term best I can. I call them medics, at least when I write it down, but I might forget, so apologies. Mist Dream is the 109 moon old medic of the clan. He's strict and a great climber and has a very, very strong connection to the soil. In order for him to feel even closer to the soil, he actually dug a hole in his den where he sleeps so he can be even closer to them. Mist Dream and Finch Spring are actually really close. They've been on patrol together a couple times. Finch Spring just really likes to let Mist Dream ramble about herbs and let him get all his thoughts out in the open, so it's not just all up in his head. In the beginning, Mist Dream had a kind of funny dynamic with one of the kits, River Kit. She was very, very interested in his work as a medicine cat, and as a strict cat, he kept getting very annoyed at her messing with and tampering with his herbs whenever he came to check on her, and her constant asking of questions, but he eventually warms up to her, and she is now his apprentice, or, medicine cat in the den with him, not apprentice. Mist Dream has also been seen touching nose with a cat from another clan, and I'm not sure if that's going to go anywhere because he's never done anything like that again, but I just think it's worth noting. Because of his really close connection, he's also been startled awake by vivid dreams before sent by his ancestors, so he's not having the best time when it comes to omens and stuff, but he still does genuinely enjoy his job as a medic and likes to be able to care for his clan and be close to his ancestors. Next is the aforementioned River Shard, who is 15 moons old, cold, has a great connection to StarClan, and is also a great climber, much like her mentor. In the beginning, she was actually really stroppy and only ever wanted to talk to Mist Dream about the soil or herbs or anything like that, and she was just obsessed with it. On the second moon of her apprenticeship, she actually slipped into the lake by accident, but was saved by a cat named Mouse Chaser, who I'll get to later as well. But she's always felt a little guilty about it after. When she received her name, she was really oddly cold about it and didn't really show any emotions, so it can be assumed that she's kind of hardened as the apprenticeship's gone on, and she's kind of felt a little distant from the rest of her clan being in the medicine den all the time. But she does still really enjoy her work as a medic and really does enjoy helping all of her clanmates. She may also be a little gay for a little cat later on, you'll see, and I am definitely rooting for them to be a couple because I like them a lot. Now we're onto the warriors, starting off with White Kestrel. She is 85 moons, a warrior, loving, a masterful storyteller, and a learner of lore. Because of that, I've assumed that she really loves to tell stories to the kits back when they were still in the nursery, and she does dramatic reenactments along with her older brother Featherspots. Speaking of Featherspots, she actually ends up having a little bit of a rocky relationship with him, as when she tries to open up with him, he immediately brushes her off and just continues on, so it's a little sad, but she's kind of moved on from it and found other people. Speaking of other people, she is the other person that Skystar has a crush on, and she requites it a lot more than Finchspring does, and I think they're really cute, and I low-key kind of want Skystar to just be in a polycule with all the two of them, and I just think they're so neat. She's also become very close with another cat called Silverflare, who is expecting soon, and she's very excited to see Silverflare's litter and help her raise them and look after them and whatnot. Speaking of, Silverflare is next. She is 65 moons, childish, has valuable insight, and is an incredible runner. She was originally a kitty pet that Skystar and White Kestrel found by the side of the road after she had been dumped for being sick. She originally felt very upset about this and felt like she was a bit of a burden when the clan took her in, but she's very much warmed up to everyone now, and everyone really enjoys her new way of thinking about things from her outsider perspective as a kitty pet. As stated before, she is an expectant mother, and I did skip a moon ahead to see her kits. She's very much someone who would also tell a lot of like dad jokes, or I guess mom jokes, I suppose. It's the female equivalent, but she's just very happy-go-lucky now and very happy with her life. Next up is Webby, who only joined recently, but she is 36 moons, loyal, has steady paws, and is a lore keeper. She was a kitty pet who was also dumped, and as she's been in the medicine den for her sickness, she's been bonding a lot with Silverflare, and the two have actually become rather good friends. She did receive a scar on her shoulder from her old two legs, who were rather abusive to her, but she doesn't really understand the fact that they didn't care about her at all, and she's still expecting them to come back and find her. Also, because her name is Webby, like a web, I also made her very good at weaving, so she also has this little weaved bracelet, which she doesn't have in-game, but I thought was cute, so I gave it to her. Next is Garlic Root, who is 35 moons old, a responsible cat and a great mediator. They really seem to put themselves above everybody else, and they kind of act a bit better than everyone else and can't stand the goofing off, but they do really try and understand others and have mellowed out over the years, especially after spending time with their apprentice, Mousepaw. Speaking of Garlic Root's apprentice, as I'm drawing them together, Mouse Chaser, who previously Mousepaw, was Garlic Root's apprentice, and she is an 18 moon old bold cat who is a good swimmer. The two ended up becoming very close after they had a bonding session, and they were just so sweet and wholesome. And originally Garlic Root wasn't sure if they would even like Mouse Chaser or Mousepaw because of their hyperactivity, but the two ended up really bonding together. Mouse Chaser also has a really big crush on River Shard, and they're the cat that I really want them to get together with. And Garlic Root is basically like her winged person, and the two are really close, and Garlic Root just keeps egging her on to get her to confess, but she hasn't yet, but I hope that she does. Next we have our two elders. Honeydusk is 126 moons, vengeful, incredibly clever, and a great storyteller. Originally she was troublesome, so I said that she caused a lot of trouble in her younger days with her good friend Waspdumble, who I've mentioned before, and was the mentor of Finchspring. So Honeydusk is the mentor of Skystar, and she really tries to get him to loosen up a little. She has the same kind of mentality with Garlic Root as well, trying to get them to loosen up just as much, and is really proud of how they've come out of their shell and whatnot. She's basically your fun-loving grandma, except she's become a little more cranky in her older days, as someone close to her may or may not have died recently, but she's still doing pretty fine. She spends a lot of time with Garlic Root and is just really trying to appreciate her last few moons that she assumes she'll have. The last living cat we have is Featherspot, 124 moons, strict and a masterful storyteller. I brought him up earlier as White Kestrel's brother and how he's very dismissive of her, and he's kind of like that to every cat. He's super poised and elegant, and he thinks he's kind of better than everybody else, and he really hates getting his pelt dirty, which I think is kind of funny because later on, while on patrol with Garlic Root, he got sprayed by a skunk and then retired basically the moon after. So I'm assuming that just kind of caused him to be like, yeah, no, I'm done with this. I just want to lay down in the sun all day and be clean and stuff. That's it for our alive cats, but now on to StarClan, which only has 2 cats, our guide and 1 cat who did pass away. Pinecry was one of the old deputies. She died at 94 moons and has been dead for 125. She is grumpy and an excellent teacher. I haven't really thought about much of Pinecry because she's just kind of the guide and I don't really think much about them often, but Pinecry was essentially, the reason she's the guide now is because she was a very valiant warrior and she did end up saving several kits from all sorts of things as well as other warriors. She's basically just a hero, and she was one of the first cats to help the leader plant a tree, and she essentially helped that leader even though he was kind of a shitty person, but she's really a great person and deserves the role of guide. And finally, Wasp Tumble, who I've been talking about a lot, and he did sadly pass away at 102 moons in life. He's been dead for 10 moons. He was troublesome, a talented swimmer, and a good storyteller. He was very, very, very close with Honeydust to the point of almost having a crush on her, but he ended up putting it aside because it just wasn't something she was interested in the end. He was killed by a fox, sadly, fairly early into the Clangen, and it was kind of sad to see him go because him and Honeydusk were really close and they were just a silly little pair, and I wanted to see them get all together, but that didn't happen in the end, and it is a shame to see him dead. But he was fun while he was alive, and he really left a good mark on cats like Finch Spring, who really took after his nature of causing trouble and making sure cats are happy. That's all of SaplingClans so far. I really do hope you enjoyed hearing about these cats as much as I had fun making them and, making their personalities and whatnot. And I do hope to continue this in the future if people have interest and I feel motivated. So hopefully there'll be more of these little cats because I'm excited to make up a proper story for them and stuff like that. I hope to post more on here. It might lean more into stuff like speed paints like this, or like my OCs and animatics and anything else. I might stay off the map parts for a while because I've got 2 I'm working on right now, but I don't even know if I'll finish them just because I'm so demotivated. But I'll try to get those out at least. That's all I really have to say. If you enjoyed, I guess subscribe or whatever. Not to be that basic YouTuber who plugs everything, but I do hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you next time. Goodbye!